Gambling is the worst addiction.
One client who incurred over $100,000 worth of gambling debt before he even reached 15.
The power it has to destroy that individual's life is huge.
I have to continue gambling to try to get out the debt. For a kid, their mindset is, I don't want to live anymore, because there is no way out of it.
I know I am not the only one disgusted by all of these gambling ads everywhere I look every single day. Celebrities, governments, networks, streaming platforms, all cashing in and just acting like it is harmless fun. It is so far from harmless fun. The reality behind this industry is way darker than anyone realizes. Trust me, it is way worse than I thought before I actually started looking into it. So in this video, I'm going to show everyone what is really going on, because this is not an entertainment industry. This is a predatory industry built to drain the most vulnerable. And the real cost goes far, far beyond just money.
Football season is the heart of gambling in the United States. I am so worried about teenagers and 20-somethings that are getting addicted to online gambling. The gambling is so clever in trapping someone in. It's so different than it used to be, where you were just betting against the point spread. Now you can bet on what happens on third down in the second quarter and all these kind of things. It can draw someone in and bring them to financial ruin.
Gambling used to be illegal. It was something we had to go out of our way to seek out. We had to go to a casino or go find some illegal gambling operation. Now it's on our phones and on our kids' phones. People can lose their entire life savings in minutes from the comfort of their own home, which they will then end up losing. All while the governments that legalized it, the corporations that lobbied them to do that, and the celebrity athletes promoting it all are making millions. Billions in some cases. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
All the money that came in, it just goes to gambling. Gambling is the worst addiction. You know why? They say that like drugs and alcohol, about 40% success rate in quitting, right? But gambling, only 2%. Right? And you know why gambling is the worst addiction? Because you can gamble $100,000 in one phone call. You know, you put on a game, or $1 million or whatever your bookie will take. But you can't put $100,000, you can't snort $100,000 worth of coke.
That's a good point. You can lose a lot more money very quickly with gambling than you can with just about any other addiction, or any other addiction that I know of, at least. And I'm not sure where he got that 2% from. Only 2% of gambling addicts are able to quit. But I am going to show some facts and figures shortly. And this is the real cost behind gambling.
I've been getting a lot of questions lately about what it was like to be married to someone with a gambling addiction. I had no idea how bad it was until he finally came clean one night. And even then, I only ever got half-truths along the way. I trusted him, blindly. When you love someone, you don't assume that they're capable of lying to you like that. It's the loss of safety, the loss of stability, the loss of you being able to tell what is the truth. Financial stability for our children's future, for my future, it is everything to me, and it always has been. He knows that.
Wow, that was heavy. Yeah, I had a friend a long time ago that... very addicted to gambling, and just, it was like the most important thing, ran his life. It was all he could think about. It completely consumed him. It changed him. And I mean, we could no longer be friends for several different reasons, but like this comment speaks to, it's a loss of trust. Gamblers are notorious for lying. Look, I don't think it's their fault. It is the addiction. So the proliferation, the legalization of gambling just enables them. It makes it so much easier. They don't have to go out to a casino or go to some shady card game. What do you think about the gambling situation out there? All of the ads. Do you know someone who has a problem? Leave a comment down below.
I am a recovering sober gambling addict for 3 years. I was an addict for 8 years. Now, lying could be, borrowing money from family members, telling them that, this is for something else, spending it on, gambling with it. Where were you last night? I was doing this, when really you were gambling. What are you doing on your phone? Gambling. A lot of lying shows up in gambling, and it's tough.
One of the comments under this speaks to this dishonesty so clearly. You become a chronic liar. I remember telling a friend that my mom was kidnapped and I needed to pay ransom, and he sent me $2,000. And that's what I am seeing here, and that's what we're going to see in some more of these videos. People not just losing money, people losing their friends, their family, and in some cases, their lives.
The capacity in which my brain would open up to create a resourcefulness for me to find extra money to continue gambling should be studied by science. Just a charge and a drive like I have never known. It would be an immediate, continued, frantic, seek and destroy mission-like charge to get more money to continue gambling.
So he mentioned someone should study the human brain to figure out like how gambling addicts' brains work. Well, there's a lot of science behind how they actually set the odds, like the sports books, for instance. A lot of gamblers think they have an edge and they think they know the team so well, but ultimately these sports books, they use teams of professional odds makers, statisticians, data scientists, plus the best AI models running millions of simulations. The odds are just so stacked against the gambler. I'm going to speak to the math momentarily too, because I mean, the gamblers really can't win, especially over the long term. But just what I'm speaking to here, the gut feeling from gamblers or the edge that they think they have does not beat all of the experts and the tech that comes up with that betting line.
I lost everything in one night because of gambling. And I got into this cycle where I tried to win the money back and I started losing even more and more. And in the course of 3 years, I lost 100,000. So now I'm here doing Uber Eats on a daily, sleeping in my car and trying to hustle. So please, don't gamble, guys. Trust me.
So let's look at the odds for sports betting and how the math just stacks up against the gambler, especially over the long term. Based on a pretty simple standard -110 line, after 10 bets, you only have about 30% chance of being ahead. And after 100 bets, it's less than 1 in 4. So that's the trap. Every extra bet, you're just getting more and more behind mathematically. The numbers do not add up, and the more that someone bets, the less their chances are that they walk away with more money than what they started with. So this is a recovered gambling addict. I will speak to it when someone jokes about an addiction and I try to ignore it. But in reality, I could talk for hours about how an addiction destroyed my life and took me to the brink of suicide. Like I talked about before, I'm going to get into the numbers momentarily. But first, let's hear from a gambling company CEO who has his own reality.
People that are irresponsible and that are anti-gambling, they would like to lump it all into some dynamic that is similar to the tobacco companies. I find that absolutely abhorrent and offensive. An industry that 9 out of 10 Americans believe is an appropriate entertainment form is being compared to something that kills people. That's not appropriate.
Well, but gambling addiction does lead to the most suicide attempts of any addiction.
I mean, don't know that that's true.
I find him inappropriate, and I'm going to show you the real facts. And look, I'm not saying this to shock anyone. I'm trying to put this out there. These are real facts and figures from real studies. So first, the National Council on Problem Gambling said about 1 in 5 people with a gambling disorder have attempted suicide. And there are other organizations who have found very similar numbers. In a peer-reviewed study in the Journal of Psychological Medicine, they reported suicide attempt rates between 17% and 24%, just about 1 in 5 among people diagnosed with a gambling disorder. So these are the real numbers. And sorry, he wasn't a CEO. This guy was the president of the American Gaming Association. He's saying he doesn't believe it, but citing no sources. I am citing real sources, real numbers here. This is clearly a real problem.
I wanted to do it. I personally had a letter written out.
You considered suicide?
Yes, sir. I was gonna give it a shot. My dad called the authorities up here, and just before I could end my life, I got a knock on the door.
The American Gaming Association, in a statement, said it encourages responsible gambling, allowing bettors to set limits on their wagers, deposits, and playing time.
In reality, If I went a day without depositing or playing, I would get a text or an email. Where have you been? Here's a profit boost or bonus that you can use to get you back in the game.
Look, I don't know if you've seen The Godfather 3, but the famous saying from that movie, it wasn't as good as 1 and 2, but the famous saying from that movie was,
just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
And that's what these gambling companies do. I mean, that's what a lot of different apps do, but they are no different, and they put the onus on the addicted gamblers to quit. They don't take any ownership. But anyway, I have a story to tell. My wife had a former coworker who was addicted to gambling, lost all his money, his house, his family, and then he was going to drive off of a bridge, and when he went to swerve, the steering wheel just didn't turn, and he took it as divine intervention or something like that. But I mean, how many people out there know problem gamblers? And I mean, we know one. We know one who almost took their own life. I will just speak to this one. This is former Xtane CEO, that's a gambling company. He says 99% of customers will lose, and those numbers sound about right to me. If we go over to the comments, and the 1% who win, they ban. And I'm not fact checking that or anything, but I could see that happening as well. When they do win, they say it's a glitch, error, and they do everything not to pay out. So I guess this is what's happening. I'm not looking under the hood of this or getting into this anymore. Another comment, you're always losing on slots and online games. The rate at which you're losing just changes. It's always rigged against you. And the last one, gambling should have more restrictions on it. And I totally agree. And there was another study, I couldn't find the actual source, but I do remember the number, and it was 95%. And that was about overconfidence. It was in a study of hundreds of men. 95% said that they were smarter than average, which by definition can't be true, right? But it just goes to show the overconfidence in human beings. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like 90% of new businesses fail, but we need innovation and we need that kind of thing. So that's how humanity has driven forward. Women are less overconfident than men, but well over 50% of women say that they are overconfident as well. So if you think about it, we have to have that overconfidence to drive innovation and drive forward, or we just wouldn't have anyone taking risks at all. But clearly when it applies to gambling, it just does not work out well at all.
I'm sitting here shaking because I just watched this executive from a gambling organization get up and say he doesn't think it's fair that gambling is lumped in the same as tobacco or substance abuse or alcohol when it comes to addiction. That it's this thing that is pretty much harmless, and there's a few people who take it too far. As a lawyer, as someone who has seen how gambling can destroy a person's life in family law, in the criminal law, good people who become addicted and they just make horrific decisions and in the space of a day drain their bank accounts or drain their employers' bank accounts and end up in custody is staggering to me. And the fact that it's not treated with, it is 100% in the same category as any addictive behavior. The power it has to destroy that individual's life is huge. It is profoundly responsible for some of the worst things that I've seen.
Some of the comments under this one, I'm in Canada and the gambling advertising here is insane. I totally agree. That's what I'm at. And it's like when I'm watching a game, every other commercial literally is gambling. And during the game, they are showing gambling commercials, you know, like the little ads on the screen, or when there is a stoppage in play, say in a hockey game, they'll show a 10 or 20 second gambling advertisement. And like I spoke to before, there's so much in-game betting you can do. So if you've lost after the first period, you can try to recover your losses, which obviously don't work. You could try and recover the losses by saying, oh, well, they're going to score a goal in this period or 2 goals in this period or whatever. It's just disgusting. Another comment, can you offer guidance to our family? Similar story, but our son cannot get out of debt, all starting from 25 years of gambling. We are mentally and financially drained. So look, gambling company CEOs, the president of the Gaming Association, they can say whatever they want, but we know the real facts and figures and the real cost. And of course, you're going to get other people out there who say gambling is just a hobby. So like this comment, I don't like all the negative reputation around gambling in media these days. It's a hobby. First of all, I don't think there is enough from media about the negative reputation in gambling. I think there should be more in media. They should be talking a lot more about the consequences of gambling, the dark side of it. But anyway, it's a hobby just like soccer or another sport, and you can make make huge amounts, please. And he gets annihilated in the responses. You must have no idea what a gambling addiction is. What an out of touch comment. I totally agree. Same with heroin. It's just a hobby and it makes you feel good. Yeah, just a hobby. Literally, these people scare me. And finally, that's the difference between an addict or not. Imagine losing your home, your job, your vehicle, upwards of $500,000 or more, I'm sure, as I've seen examples of. And look, we already heard from a wife of a gambling addict how bad things could be. That's the reality. We may hear out there people promoting gambling. I mean, there is so much money. It is a multi-billion dollar industry. So obviously there are going to be lots of people, and maybe this was a bot that said that, maybe from one of these gambling operations, but there are just so many people making so much money from this that of course there is a cloud. Of course there is a barrier between us and the reality, the dark side of it. So I just thought I would put this out there. I hope that people enjoyed the video. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but I hope that people found this video important. If you know someone that would feel the same way, then please share. If you liked it or at least thought it was a good video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'm Justin. I regularly put out videos to help people with personal finance matters, and I just put videos out about things that matter. So feel free to subscribe. It's free. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.